What is academic writing? Academic writing is a formal style of writing used in university and scholarly publication. You'll encounter it in journal, article, and books on academic topic, and you'll be expected to write your essay, research paper, and dissertation in academic style. Academic writing follows the same writing process as other types of text, but is a specific convention in terms of content, structure, and style. Academic writing is 1. Formal and unbiased, 2. Clear and precise, 3. Focused and well structured, 4. Well sourced, 5. Correct and consistent. Academic writing is not 1. Personal, 2. Long-winded, 3. Emotive and grandiose.
Types of academic writing. Academics mostly write texts intended for publication, such as journal articles, reports, books, and chapters in edited collections. For students, there are 7 most common types of academic writing assignments. The first one is essay. Essay is a fairly short text, self-contained argument, and often using source from a class in response to a question provided by an instructor. The second one is research paper. Research paper is a more in-depth investigation based on independent research. It's often in response to a question chosen by the student. The third one is thesis or dissertation. Thesis or dissertation is the large final research project undertaken at the end of a degree. It's usually on a dissertation topic of student's choice. The fourth one is research proposal, an outline of a potential topic and plan for a future dissertation or research project. The fifth one is literature review. Literature review is a critical synthesis of existing research on a topic, usually written in order to inform the approach of a new piece of research. The sixth one is lab report. Lab report is a write-up of the aims, methods, results, and conclusion of a lab experiment. And the last one is annotated bibliography. It's a list of source references with a short description or evaluation of each source. So that's all the 7 common types of academics writing. Different fields of study have different priorities in terms of writing they produce. For example, in scientific writing, it's crucial to clearly and accurately report methods and results. In humanities, the focus is on constructing convincing arguments through the use of textual evidence. However, most academic writing shares certain key principles intended to help convey information as effectively as possible. Whether your goal is to pass your degree, apply to graduate school, or build an academic career, effective writing is an essential skill.
Academic writing is, first, formal and unbiased. Academic writing aims to convey information in an impartial way. The goal is to base arguments on the evidence under consideration, not the other's preconceptions. All claims should be supported with relevant evidence, not just asserted. To avoid bias, it's important to represent the work of other research and the result of your own research fairly and accurately. This means clearly outlining your methodology and being honest about the limitation of your research. The formal style used in academic writing ensures that research is presented consistently across different texts so that studies can be objectively assessed and compared with other research. Because of this, it's important to strike the right tone with your language choice. Avoid informal language, including slang, construction, classes, and conventional prose. The example is: second is clear and precise. It's important to use clear and precise language to ensure that your reader knows exactly what you mean. This means being as specific as possible and avoiding vague language. The example is: avoid hedging your claims with words like perhaps, as this can give the impression that you lack confidence in your arguments. Reflect on your word choice to ensure it accurately and directly conveys your meaning. The example is: specialist language or jargon is common and often necessary in academic writing, which generally targets an audience of other academic in related fields. However, jargon should be used to make your writing more concise and accurate, not to make it more complicated. A specialist term should be used when the best way to familiarize yourself with the kind of jargon used in your field is to read papers by other researchers and pay attention to their language.
Next is focused and well-structured. An academic text is not just a collection of ideas about a topic. It needs to have a clear purpose. Start with a relevant research, questions, or thesis statement, and use it to develop a focused argument. Only input information that is relevant to your overall purpose. A coherent structure is crucial to organize your ideas. Pay attention to structure at three levels: the structure of the whole text, paragraph structure, and sentence structure. This is the example of focused and well-structured. Next is well-sourced. Academic writing uses sources to support its claims. Sources are other texts or media objects like photographs or films that the author analyzes or uses as evidence. Many of your sources will be written by other accidents. Academic writing is collaborative and builds on previous research. It's important to consider which sources are credible and appropriate to use in academic writing. For example, citing Wikipedia is typically discouraged. Don't rely on websites for information. Instead, use academic database and your university library to find credible sources. You must always cite your sources in academic writing. This means acknowledging whenever you quote or paraphrase someone else's work by including a citation in the next and reference list at the end. And this is the example of well-sourced.
The next one is academic writing is not personal. Academic writing tries to avoid being too personal. Information about the author may come in at some points, but the most of part of the text should focus on the research itself. Always avoid addressing the reader directly with the second pronunciation, which is you. Prefer use the impersonal pronoun one or an alternative phrasing instead of generalization. The wrong example is, as a teacher, you must treat your students fairly. We prefer use, as a teacher, one must treat one's students fairly, or teachers must treat their students fairly. The use of the first person pronoun I used to be similarly discouraged in academic writing, but is increasingly accepted in many fields. If you are unsure whether to use the first person, pay attention to conventions in your field or ask your instructor. When you refer to yourself, it should be for good reason. You can position yourself and describe what you did during the research, but avoid arbitrarily inserting your personal thoughts and feelings. The wrong example is, in my opinion, I think that, I like or I dislike. But we prefer use, I conducted interviews with blah blah blah, or I argue that blah blah blah, and I hope to achieve blah blah blah.
A writing academic is not long-winded. Many students think their writing is an academic unless it's overcomplicated and long-winded. This isn't a good approach. Aim to be as concise and direct as possible. If a term can be cut or replaced with a more straightforward one without affecting your meaning, it should be. Avoid redundant phrasing in your text and try replacing phrasal verb with their one-word equivalents where possible. Repetition is a part of academic writing, but it's important to avoid unnecessary repetition. Make sure that none of your sentences are repeating a point you've already made in different words. Next, the academic writing is not emotive and grandiose. An academic text is not the same thing as a journalistic or marketing text, though you're still trying to be persuasive. A lot of techniques from this style are not appropriate in an academic context. Specifically, you should avoid appeals to emotion and inflated claims. Though you may be writing about a topic that's sensitive or important to you, the point of academic writing is to communicate ideas, information, and arguments, not inspire an emotional response.